All right, here we are, everybody. I am Marguerite Rigoglioso, the founder of Seven Sisters Mystery School, and I'm very excited, delighted, and lovingly in my heart welcoming you to our event. Today we are offering a unique event, which is to have our sacred priestess teachers from our new Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy all come together in Oracle space in service to you. What we're doing here that I've never seen done before is that all of us are already in ceremony. We have ingested our respective sacred plant ally, either Blue Lotus, Mama Cacao, or Lady Cannabis. So we are working with 3 different medicine sisters, which each of us will be teaching about in this new program. And we are here for you today on a number of levels and with relevant topics that have to do with how plant medicine can be used mindfully and with integrity to enhance your life, your ministry, your sacred career, your healing, and more. So a few thank yous first. I'd like to thank Courtney Harper, our priestess of sacred administration, and Roxy Runyon, our publicity manager, who have both done a stellar job organizing everything for our event today and our upcoming Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy, which we'll talk about more. Incredible job, women. Thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge another priestess sister who's behind the scenes as our sacred space holder, Athena Sai. Thank you, Athena. She is helping keep the space clear and vital for this important work today. All right. I'd like to invite everybody just to tune in for a second, to tune in to the energies that are here today for you. The sacred plant ally of Blue Lotus. Here she is. The kind of Blue Lotus that we will be working with in the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy. The energies of Mama Cacao. Here is her sacred paste, raw jungle-grown Ariba Criollo, the brand Beloved Cacao by our priestess Angela de la Agua. And beautiful Lady Cannabis, Santa Maria Asterion. We are calling them all in. We are tuning in with them. And we are tuning in with our hearts and with one another in sacred priest and priestesshood. Thank you for being here. I'd like to start with a little bit about myself and why I've created the new Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy. It has been a long time coming, but it was actually Roxy Runyon, our faithful publicity leader, who articulated the idea a few months ago. Thank you, Roxy, for helping me consolidate my thoughts and intentions in one fell swoop. Boom! And as to my own work with medicines, I briefly worked with psilocybin mushrooms in 1999, and since 2005, I've worked with Lady Cannabis. In 2017, also beginning work with Mama Cacao, thanks to Angela de la Agua, my initiator and my teacher, who is one of our Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy teachers and oracles here today. So my collaboration with these sacred plant allies, of course, has been life-changing in every area of my reality. They've helped me to heal. They've helped me to awaken. They've helped me to have improvements in my personal life. They've helped me to draw abundance to myself. They've helped me to amplify the information coming through my sacred ministry and co-create Seven Sisters Mystery School. So because I understand the power of plants when they're worked with in mindful ways and with integrity, and because plant medicine is becoming, as you're probably seeing, an increasingly hot topic in our evolving times, promoted also through the increasing legalization that we're experiencing, I've realized that now is the time to help others either begin a relationship with some of these plants or deepen one if you've already been working with some of them or all of them already, or foster a new relationship if you've had maybe a checkered history with one or more plants. As we know, the world is in huge transition, and we're all being challenged to the max. We are awakening spiritually, we are healing emotionally, and the consciousness expanding plants that are connected with these sacred plant spirits are great supporters and allies in this. Yes, this is the realm of the Fae, the She, the New Earth. So today, again, you are going to meet the other 3 teachers in the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy in a very unique way that hopefully will offer you value for your own life and your own potential relationship with these plants. All right, so I'm just going to name these 3 teachers, and then you're going to each meet them through their plant medicine and their oracle. We have Helen Avitabile, Angela de la Agua, and Connie Viveros. Helen is working with Blue Lotus, Angela is working with Mama Cacao, and Connie Viveros is working with Lady Cannabis. Now, each one of these wonderful women also happens to be a certified Dove Oracle Priestess through Seven Sisters Mystery School. They've gone through that training, so they also know how to go into open states and deliver oracle information even without medicine. Today, you will have the opportunity to get to know a little bit about each woman via the oracles they will deliver to you in response to certain questions through their respective sacred plant allies. Because as I've explained, each priestess now has her plant spirit within her body. For me, I'm working with Ish Cacao spirit as I speak to you. So again, this event is to support you, to help provide some information that will allow you to decide perhaps whether plants are right for you, or if you already have a yes on that, or you are already intimate with plants, how you might work with them more deeply or look at them in new ways. A little later on, I'll share a bit more about the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy. All right, big breath in. Our first question today for our medicine women priestesses and the plant allies now in intimate relationship with them is, how is your plant ally that you're working with right now beneficial to others? And can you provide an example of how you experience this in your own life, or say a little bit about that? We're going to have you each speak for a few minutes. How is your plant ally beneficial to others? And can you provide an example of how you experience this in your own life, or say a little bit about that? We're going to start with Angela de la Agua, the Oracle of Joshua Tree, and my cacao teacher. Angela. Oh, we need you to unmute. We're all so in space that we have to remember about 3 dimensions right now. Okay.
The first that comes through is the expansion of consciousness.
All right, Sacred Sister, the energies are so high that we're having a little trouble connecting with you. Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So the gift of compassion. The gift of compassion is the greatest, most forefront blessing that comes from working with sacred cacao. And I can attest to this as I imbibe cacao pretty much on a daily basis. And working with Mama Cacao, Ish Cacao, sacred cacao, every day helps me to really recognize this gift of compassion in all of its subtle ways in which it expresses itself through me every day. Drinking sacred cacao in the morning especially, I find to be a powerful foundation of compassion to begin the day upon. And so I find when I have to move from that beautiful, open-hearted journey with cacao in the morning time, that's my time to tune in with her, to tune in with my heart and what's happening there. And from that point, moving forward, as soon as I cross that threshold of being in that sacred space into the 3D realm and get to start engaging with the outside world in whatever form it might be, I find how she supports my interactions with others, whether it's work related or computer related, dealing with technology issues, that she softens everything from that place of compassion. The example I can speak to is happening right now, because through something that could be experienced as frustrating with technology not working the way that maybe I want it to for this live moment, I just feel compassion. I feel compassion for my internet service. I feel compassion for whatever technological situation is at hand right now. And I feel like, honestly, that feels like the oracle that's coming through right now, is that this is why it's happening, is to just help me to communicate that to all of you, that cacao is helping to just override any kind of feelings of frustration or irritation and just drop into that compassionate state for what is.
Wow. I could not agree more. And what a beautiful living example of that as we deal with all the stuff we're dealing with day in and day out. Every one of us has frustrations and people and places and things that are irritating us. Yeah, you can bring your video on now, Angela. That was really gorgeous. A true testament to just one of the attributes and powerful medicine aspects of Mama Cacao. Wonderful. All right. So, still looking at this question of how is your plant ally beneficial to others, and can you provide an example or how you're experiencing this? Let's turn to our oracle, Helen Avitabile, founder of the Temple of the Blue Lotus, who is working with Blue Lotus Sister today.
Thank you, Marguerite. My experience with Blue Lotus is that it really brings me to this very calm, relaxed state and pulls me into that meditation much easier. I'm someone whose energy runs a bit high. So for me, it's excellent because it just kind of brings me down into that deep center, really just calms the mind and just kind of quiets that chatter so that I'm able to open up the crown chakra and bring through knowledge, wisdom, information in a way that's very gentle and just smooth, right? And I can just quiet the mind down significantly. It just relaxes my whole nervous system and just brings that gentle clarity and this sort of deep focus that sometimes is more challenging to achieve.
Okay, blessed be. You know, the idea here is not to turn everybody into a drug addict, all right? Because this is starting to sound very, very good, like you're going to want it every single minute of the day. But, everything in moderation. And, that's a point here. This is the very point of what we're doing here today in the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy, which is to have everybody work with these plants and play with them. Yes, play mindfully, with integrity, with judgment, so that we are not falling into the uses and misuses that have happened. And we'll look at that question a bit later. But thank you so much. We're now going to be asking Connie Viveros, who is the co-founder of Angels Emerging, who's working with Lady Cannabis. of whom actually told her that Lady Cannabis is one of the names she'd like to go by. And I was like, thank you very much. All right, Connie, how is your plant ally beneficial to others, and how can you provide an example? Can you provide an example of this in your own life?
Thank you for allowing me to be here and to expose this beautiful goddess, priestess ally of ours to be free again. She's been subjugated by so much vilification and misperception, is what she's saying. And she's just so happy and light right now to be freed and to just be in the light with all of you. So we want to take time to make that appreciation, acknowledgement toward her, and the benefits to all are vast. Lady Cannabis, Mother Cannabis even, has been around for thousands of years and used in sacred ceremony. The Hebrews used to use it. The Egyptians used to use it. Just think about your life in terms of, living a ritual life. And Lady Cannabis is here to expose you to parts of your brain, your expansive brain, that part of you that accesses more creativity, like on a new dimension. Think of it in terms of that, and just the expression that you'll be able to have through her being inside of you is one where you can astral travel and have many more cosmic star being connections as well. So there's just so much we want to share, and how it's benefited me personally has been just that expansiveness in my creativity. When I'm down on ideas, when I'm feeling frustrated and filled with anxiety around my own life circumstances, she will offer me another perspective. She will provide me that light and that hallway, that threshold into, I can think in an entirely new way. And so think of being able to access inner dimensions of your own brain where lots of wisdom resides.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. I feel like I want to cry after each one of you is speaking. It's so profound and so true. And so let's continue on with this thread, new layers into it. What's the promise that plant medicines hold for people individually? And so we're now moving just from your specific one into plant medicines in general, which is, of course, a whole world of other things. So what's the promise they hold for, let's say, humanity? All right. And how can people lean into their massive benefits? What's the promise that plant medicines hold for humanity? And how can people lean into their massive benefits? So it's a two-part question, if you will. All right, did you follow all that? Because I know you're all busy. We're going to start here with Helen. Helen, the promise for humanity and how people can lean into the benefits.
I believe the promise here is to really get in alignment with these earth beings, the plants that are really expressing the energy of the earth that they come from, and connecting with them just shifts your perspective and gives you a greater expanded perspective of the world around you. And the world around you is yes, it's this earth, but it's also these cosmic energies that are coming through as well. And here we are between, and I believe that these plants act as the bridge in between, bringing up this strong grounding, yet rising up to meet the sun and that expanded state of consciousness, that expanded awareness that is source creation. And by holding these plants sacred and by bringing that intention to it, to their use, is really going to assist in leaning into that intention. It really is about our intention and leaning into those gifts that they bring and that they promise. But it's that sacredness that we bring to it that really makes the magic happen, lights them up and lights us up.
Beautiful. So wise. Connie, let's turn to you, talking about the promise that plant medicines hold for humanity. What does Lady Cannabis, your goddess self, have to say about this, and how people can lean into the massive benefits of these plants?
Well, this would take up the entire time to speak of, yes. And the benefits, the gifts that she bestows upon the world is unearthly. Remember, we are star beings, and she too is a star being and wants to educate and create more of a heightened, expanded and evolved awareness of where she comes from. And throughout the teachings that we want to bring forth is that she is a star being, and she initially comes from, Asterian. We will be talking about this more, and to have access to that and have everyone be able to contact and be in connection with their soul families more. She is an ally to create that bridge of light for each and every one of you, to hold your hand and usher you back to your states of origin. And in that is not of the heavy thinking egoic mind, but important that you use a sacred ally to initiate you into these realms where so much is made possible, where your vantage point to your purpose and why you're here is made available to you. You are connected to many more beings than perhaps you believe from this earth plane. You are connected to the all. That allness is beckoning to you, and she will be your ally and your sacred usher, in a sense. Think of her as a chaperone, maybe.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Amazing. I am loving that astral aspect that you're bringing in here, Connie and Lady Cannabis, with such great honor, known as Asterion, the being of the stars, which we'll talk about in the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy. Yes. Oh, I don't know what happened. All right, now the beings are just fooling around with her, her console here. I don't know what you heard, but I'm going to say this was amazing. I love the astral relationship of this, that Asterion is named. Asterion, meaning it is the gift of the stars. This is what we need today to assist us in connecting with our star families, beings, and allies. We need a little help, and this is the now. This is what's happening. Anybody who's paying attention on the spiritual oracle plane, this is what all the oracles are talking about. Where are our star families? Who are they? It's, we thought that like the races of humanity are a big deal. There are races that are out there that we are only going to begin to learn about what is diversity. Okay? All right.
They are in abundance to help us, wanting so much to help. But you must also reach out and make the connection as well. And through this series, you can do just that.
Okay. All right, Angela, the promise that plant medicines hold for humanity and how people can lean into these benefits. Yeah, Angela, you can unmute.
To remember that detail. Okay. Okay. So the promise that all plant medicines offer to us here on earth is the promise of remembrance, the remembrance of our divinity. And that is what is coming through in response to the greater purpose for the presence of plant medicines on our planet is to help us remember that which we have forgotten about our origins, about our story origins, and how cacao specifically is helping us to remember the truth of our origin as love. And how, whether it's cacao or any other plant medicine, the promise has a lot to do with remembering our birthright to our divinity. So these plant medicines are here to remind us of that which we have forgotten, that is our inherent birthright. And the way to lean in to these teachers, to these sacred medicines, is to first and foremost to simply listen, because these are subtle calls from one plant teacher to another that are very individual and unique. And what's important in moving towards and leaning into a plant medicine is to be clear about whether or not this is a message that's for you specifically, and to not simply follow a crowd of people who are doing something that feels like it had something for you, but rather checking in with yourself and just making sure that this is an authentic relationship that's being called upon for you. And to enter that space with the plant with intention, with clarity, and to also look for synchronicity, that once that connection has been established and you are finding yourself curious about a particular plant medicine, to just stay alert and become aware of synchronicities as they're unfolding, and know that these synchronicities are affirmations of the plant medicine that you are leaning into being a confirmation for your work with that particular plant teacher.
Wow. Blessed be. Blessed be the connection to us as beings of divine love. Very, very important. So let's look at the question of how people can use plant medicine for the emotional healing and regulation that we so deeply need in this world. So starting on that personal level, and we will begin with Connie. How can we use this plant medicine for emotional healing and regulation?
Yeah. Let me just receive just a moment. Well, there are so many levels and layers of how can we receive benefits from this, from the physical. Obviously, we just take the bodies, and the physical, it calms your autonomic nervous system. It lays down the mind. It puts you at rest. And then you go to your emotional body, and it can soothe and really create, for those that have anxiety in particular, it can begin to smooth out and soothe the feeling of upset of the external. For most of us, in particular, the plant medicine is such an internal experience for each of you to go inward to your own light. And then from that light begins to emanate and allow for your perspective to shift on any area you perceive is at ill and not well. And so just allow that. When you imbue any of these medicines, are all very powerful and can achieve that same result. And then let us speak to the energy body, and that body that you replenish, and then you burn up, and then you replenish and you burn up. The plant allies and the medicine can really affect and help and assist and aid you in sustainability of your energy, especially in the creative forces. And those of you that are creating books and podcasts and artwork and great works in the world that express love and beauty and bounty. And so this allows you, the freedom to explore those areas that you may not allow yourself to enter. I hope this answers the question.
Oh, so beautifully, so beautifully. And we're going to go into aspects of what you're saying in a bit, because we've also had a question about advising people with past addictions on how to use safely. That's going to be a big oracle place we're going to look at next. But before we do that, because that's something we're definitely playing with in the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy, all right? But before we do that, let's talk to Angela's oracle. How can people use sacred plants to open to, the personal emotional healing and regulation?
These sacred plants, these medicines, they love us so much, and they want us to heal. And they each hold these special, unique abilities to help bring particular types of healing to each of us in different kinds of ways. And it's all, again, going back to that original intention of these plant medicines, wanting us to remember the truth of who we really are. But in order to get to that place of remembrance, we have to confront the things that we carry within ourselves that shroud our ability to access that knowing. And so it's through this process of working with different plant allies, these different plant medicines and teachers that help to dislodge and bring to the surface things that have been buried and stuck inside us, and things that are very hard for us to access on our own. And so they come in as these great helpers who have that intention of bringing us healing out of love for us, that enables us to do certain levels of healing healing work that we wouldn't be able to have access to otherwise. And this is very much the case with Cacao Spirit. Her focus predominantly on the heart space, and we know how much we can hold in our hearts and how buried deep within so much is within the heart. So much can be buried away that we just shut ourselves down ultimately to the truth of our existence or the life that we've lived. We want to reject certain aspects of our path, things that we don't like to look at about ourselves. But yet, in order to achieve full wholeness, to achieve absolute healing, we have to embrace all that we are. And so Cacao Spirit is one type of plant medicine that's going to help to dislodge the things that we have done our best to bury and hide away, and just gently bring to the surface these things that are asking for our attention, so that we can learn to love all aspects of who we are, so that we can ultimately bring deeper layers of that type of healing to ourselves, and ultimately be able to embody that divine love.
Completely profound. And, Marguerite is going to create a bumper sticker. What would cacao do? How would I approach this situation if I were drinking Mama Cacao right now? And I use that vibration memory to put me into a better state as much as I can. I'm still working on this very much, because the encrusted heart is an area that I've been working on, with all the trauma that I've experienced and so forth. And I get all anxious and this and that. How could I, whenever I do cacao, I'm like, oh my God, it's like if the whole world were in this cacao state and we started talking and emailing, there would be, all the problems would just dissolve immediately, So it's like they're teaching us how to go into those vibrational states and inculcate them into our body, mind, spirit, on a regular basis. And that's what we're going to be looking at in this Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy, which I'm going to talk about in a minute in more detail. But we want people to have this personally for themselves, and then for them to be teachers of this for others, right? Because it grows exponentially. So thank you so much, Angela. That was beautiful. And now, Helen, let's look at what you and Blue Lady Lotus are telling us about the promise that plants hold for emotional healing and regulation.
What keeps coming up for me, I keep hearing gentle guides. And I just see these plants and especially Blue Lotus as this gentle guide and gentle teacher. Just offering this little, I don't know, cocoon from the harshness of the world, just to give you enough time to really sit and to be quiet and to feel what's going on and to be with that. And putting aside everything else that's going on, just feeling safe in your body and just giving you that time. And there's definitely this feeling of giving yourself that space and giving yourself that time to process and being as gentle as Lady Lotus is and offering that gentleness to yourself and just releasing any sort of judgment that you might have around what you are going through and just allowing it and sitting with it. And I feel that from the others as well. It just kind of offers you this spaciousness to just be for a little while and to have that sort of expanded and shifted perspective, just to step out of that noise, even if it's just for a little bit, and to allow something else to come in.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful, so beautiful. So these plants are sounding really good, and many of us have had experiences with them. Some of us are new to one or more of them. So let's look at what these plant spirits say about how to avoid misuse, getting too dependent, and also dealing with previously existing dependency. Okay, because there are people here who are wondering, gee, I misused cannabis back in the day. I've said goodbye to it because I didn't like how I was with it and how it was with me. So there's a two-pronged question here again: how to avoid misuse to begin with, and how to reverse and clear out misuse that may already be in your field with one or more of these medicines. Because that's the cutting edge as I see it. This is addiction healing also. All right. And we are at the cutting edge of this. What are the plant spirits saying about this? Let's begin with Angela.
Well, there was a message that came through right away in response to that last question. And accountability is the word that came through in response to how to monitor any kind of fears around addiction specifically. And embarking on a journey with a new plant teacher is best done in a group or with others who are doing the work together, so that you can be honest about where you are at and where you're coming from. And that truthfulness, that transparency, and just having someone, even if it's just one other person, a close friend who's bearing witness to you and who can hold you accountable, someone you can truthfully check in with, is a really, really powerful foundation to set yourself up with if that's a concern. You might have to, what was the other part of the question? Got all activated about the end part.
That was excellent. That was excellent about like going forward. And how about actively looking at an addiction that's already in your space?
Right. So I'll back up and to enter a new journey with any of these plant medicines, part of this program. Again, intention, setting a clear intention of why you are beginning the journey with this plant medicine is going to strongly support how you engage with the medicine. Having that level of clarity and knowing for yourself that you are choosing to partake in these different medicines with that clarity, and just knowing of what it is that you are seeking, and having that clear communication between yourself and the spirit of that medicine and that teacher, so that it feels like one of the keys for engaging with plant medicines in a really integrous way is just simply forming an intimate relationship with that plant spirit. And it goes beyond just taking something into your body, a substance into your body, whether it's cacao or Santa Maria or blue lotus. These are plant spirits that you are taking in. It elevates the experience. So reminding yourself that this is an elevated experience that you are entering. And also something else that is coming through is the setting of the sacred space being very key as well. And keeping the journey that you have with these plant medicines private to an extent. It's wise to have people who are aware of what you're experiencing and what your intention is with these journeys, but not talking about it in a public kind of way that is going to affect the energy, that's going to kind of disperse it in a way that it compromises, that's the word, compromises the level of integrity that you want to cultivate when you are participating in these journeys with these different plant teachers.
Yeah, blessed be. And we are going to be looking at those protocols for setting up sacred space in a very detailed way in the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy. And also, if people want to jump in a little bit to this, I have the free video, the 10 steps to cultivating a sacred relationship with plants, that's on the page for the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy, available on demand right now. So that's a good jump in point or reminder point or pivot point. Okay. So this is great. And I want to remind everybody that when you are working with plants, you are opening up to the level of spirits. And you are opening up to the level of these spirits that might be hooking into you on the addiction level. And you are going to be working in an oracle way and with your plant ally to release these spirits. Okay, that's new. All right, this is the missing piece in addiction counseling today. They've got the emotional piece, they've got the neuro, pathway piece, but they're missing the spirit piece. And once we get that third element braided into it, then people will begin to release their compulsions and addictions with these or any other substances. Okay, so this is, world level. All right, what we're about here. World level, cutting edge, let's say. Okay, we're going to go to Helen about this question about retro, or going forward, how can you work with plants in a way that avoids misuse? And retroactively, how can you work with them in a way that may adjust or dissolve out addictions?
The first thing before you participate in any of the plant medicines is to get really, really real with yourself and where you're at, and really examining your motives and your intentions for participating. Getting clear on what it is that you're looking to receive, that you're needing assistance with. Clarity is what is needed, and really sitting down and even maybe getting a notebook and just going through what it is that you want. What are your intentions, and where have you been, and what has perhaps sent you the wrong direction in the past. And then remembering that there's no pressure ever to actually take these plants into your body. You can connect with them in a way that you're not even ingesting them. And perhaps if you're concerned about past addictions, that would be the way to start, and to really build that relationship before you even imbibe. And if you have had past addictions and issues in there, perhaps you need some clearing work before you begin this process. Perhaps you need to really set a strong intention of healing that and going in and seeing what may or be attached to you, or where you may have those hooks, and work on healing that before you begin.
Yeah. Blessed be. And the Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy will be a novel, unique, and really cutting edge place where you can do that exploration. You do not have to imbibe any of the plants at all in order to participate. You can sit in ceremony with us, connect with the spirit of the plant, and experiment, be your own oracle in this, be a world explorer, be the burgeoning addiction counselor as you're working in this way with it. Maybe that's a place you're going to be called as a result of this. So beautiful, beautiful, Helen. And Connie, let's hear from you about this going forward without misuse and going backward to remedy a situation.
Well, what I'm hearing, and I agree with everything that has been said here, it's about relationship. It's about being in right relationship. We know thyself as great healers. And once we can align and attune ourselves to knowing that about ourselves, it's about healing that is within, much of what has already been spoken. And yet the addiction piece is Lady Cannabis in particular has been so vilified for so long. And she is really saying, the subjugation that's been put upon her is really what's at cause. For addiction is a behavior. Addiction, you have addiction to sugar, we have addiction to alcohol, we have addiction to sports and athletics, we have addiction to the adrenaline. And so it is about being in right relationship with that which you're putting forth. And we are spirits. We are here to aid, support, love, nurture, cajole, move you into that expanded awareness of thyself, to know thyself, to know you're so much more than what exists here in this body that you're participating in this with. And get a teacher, find a sitter, we're called in the plant medicine world, someone to sit with you and be in that ritualistic ceremonial relationship with that which you're participating in. It is not to be abused. We are wanting to shift that paradigm of abuse of these sacred allies.
Yeah.
How we abuse so many things in our lives. And this is just one in a category that we have, pushed into this very dark shadow and bring it into the light, which is what this is all about, to be in right relationship with that, to know you always have sovereignty and choice over whether to feel you have to abuse that which is here as a helper.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is so important as cannabis becomes more legal everywhere. And there's even more use. We've already seen so many of our human people taken under by these addiction entities, and cannabis has become a detriment instead of a benefit and an ally to their lives. We want to reverse that out, and we want to prevent that from happening as much as possible with people. And that's why we are, starting in with this Sacred Plant Medicine Academy to teach people the better ways from the get-go, and to help you in your relationships and help you become a helper to others. Was there more you wanted to say, Connie?
I just wanted to also say, you know, just like anything, there are strains and there are different types and sources for things. So that's another area to be mindful of is what strain you are participating in and what's right for you.
Yeah.
You know, the indica versus the sativa, it matters. You know, everything matters. And so having that knowledge of what's right for you is really essential to the process.
All things we're going to go over in this Sacred Plant Medicine Academy. And what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about this briefly, and then we will resume into questions. So you can see this is the page where you came to register for this call. And we're beginning May 23rd, going through July 29th. It's not going to be like heavy, intensive study. We're doing 4 teaching modules and 3 ceremonies together online to help you open your consciousness through these plants with integrity, safety, and sacred intention, just like we've been discussing, and getting the genius guidance you need for pivoting your life and your sacred path, your ministry. And we're going to talk more about that in our question after this. Also connecting with the feminine aspects of these plants, something that has been much ignored to our great detriment, and the fairy or deva energy of these plants, also something much ignored to our detriment. We're focusing on the plants that we are working with today: Blue Lotus, Mama Cacao, Lady Cannabis, helping everybody find their true alignment. As I mentioned, we have on demand that you can step into it right now, the 10 steps for cultivating a sacred relationship with plant medicine. That free video. And then the modules are really all about how to learn about these plants and work with them in a beginning way or new way. How to obtain, prepare, use them for personal healing, for spiritual revelation. Working with them safely, responsibly, so you don't have to be afraid. Ooh, gosh, I've never used cannabis. I don't know what that would be. Well, we'll help you with that and all of these plants. We'll be doing the online ceremonies to understand each plant spirit in an embodied way, and to have the experience of receiving guidance, not only individually, but in the group setting, right? We want you to reclaim your ancient knowledge through the awakening or reawakening to these plants and empower you. And especially this is the case for women who have been really cut off from this tradition. We've been witch burned, etc., etc. We've been vilified. You know, the image of the witch riding on a broomstick with green face, those are all references to sacred salves that are applied either topically or to the vagina. And, you know, look how many people got killed for that. We still have that in our system, and we're getting it out of it with the help of the plant medicines. All right, because there are allies in this. We don't have to go it alone. Not only do we have the power of the group with us and these beautiful sacred teachers, but our group for reflection, accountability, mirroring. All right, again, ingestion not required. And we have these modules where I'm going to introduce you to the world of plant medicine, give you a lot of background, the protocol for sacred ceremony, and other important things that you need to know. Then we'll move into Blue Lotus. Beautiful Helen is going to do a teaching for us about how this plant in particular is related to its esoteric connections to Atlantis and the solar feminine Christ, remembering, and how that connects to the now and to you. We're going to then do a Blue Lotus ceremony together on a different day. And then we have our cacao module with beautiful Angela, going deeper, more about the history and the reality of this sacred mother plant, deepening your relationship with it, and then going into an online group cacao ceremony on another day. Finally, our last modules, cannabis with beautiful Connie and myself, about some of the important history, the connection to the stars, and some of the technicalities of how to work with cannabis in a practical way. What is this edible versus, smoking, vaping, blah, de, da. It just seems so overwhelming, right? Even to people who have maybe just good old smoked it in the past and didn't inhale in the college room, whatever it is. All right. Then we'll have together a cannabis ceremony. Okay. So that'll be pretty high octane for all of us online. And you're going to come away with confidence in working with these plants. All right. Know how to work with them, know how to not work with them, safely access your open states of consciousness, your guidance, your healing. You're going to accelerate your inner oracle wisdom. And we're going to look at that question in a minute. Your connection with the divine, your intention. I mean, the sky is not even the limit with these plants once you start opening to them and say, oh, in this ceremony, my intention is to, find my connection to Isis. And this one, it's to find my connection to my deceased mother. And this one, wow, you could be there for many, many ceremonies, right? And this is so exciting because this program is the first step and prerequisite for what I'm going to be starting, the Lady Cannabis Mentoring Program, all right? Going deeper for your own relationship with cannabis, and then becoming a teacher and ceremonialist for others. I already have a cacao training for this, as does Angela, for example. We're going to be having quarterly online ceremonies for those who have experienced the Academy, and then a yearly ceremonial retreat with one of these plant allies each retreat, so that we can in person feel the vibration and do world work together. Okay, so we're stepping this up. There are some waivers and understandings you have to have about legality. You'll be able to read that. There's information about who we are a little bit more, and you can register here. Okay, so I want us to go into another dear question to me and to, I think, a lot of you who will be coming into this Plant Medicine Academy wanting to know, how can this help you become more of the world oracle, the wisdom keeper and the wisdom transmitter? How can us use sacred plants to open our connection to divine wisdom and receive new information for navigating these turbulent times? So divine wisdom and navigating these turbulent times. We'll start here with Connie.
Give me one moment. Well, as we've spoken before, the plant ally that we're working with today gives you access to a different dimensional field. And within that, you become, more. You're able to understand more and receive more and have more ability or oracular abilities, connection to your source, your guidance. Many of you have lineages of guidance, soul families that you work with. And it's important to have that deeper understanding of yourself if you are on the path of enlightenment in this lifetime and becoming the fullest of yourself that you can be. Get about your soul's business. And this is really what these allies provide for us. It's not just thinking my life is in this small confines. It's really that expanded life form that you are, and to heal those wounds and to heal those relationships and to become right with all aspects of your life, so that you can then begin to bring your soul gifts out in a variety of ways. And there are 7 billion ways to bring your gifts upon the earth, as there are, human beings upon your planet. So this offers you that place you can go in a ritualistic form, in a place where you will be supported and loved, and you have companionship. Companionship is so lacking right now in your world. Is people are together, but they feel so alone. And so this fear of taking these journeys on your own, you've never been alone. And we want to return you to that unity consciousness. And in doing this, it will allow you a greater field and access to that field of consciousness where you truly are at one with everything. And you will feel that love, that connection and association with not just, your family unit, but other humans. And then please understand the extension of the fae and the fairies and the earth kingdoms and the animals and the water beings. And you will just begin to feel this expanded consciousness within yourself that allows you to be in accordance and relationship with all that really matters. You being sacred and you being of source and of light.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much. So Helen, what is your oracle and Blue Lady Lotus telling us about how sacred plants can open our connection to divine wisdom for receiving new information to navigate these challenging times?
Yes. Blue Lady Lotus has been sort of forgotten about for a long time. And it's really just within the last 20 years or so that she's back. And there's a reason why now. And she's really showing us how that submerged knowledge, that wisdom has been hidden, it's been covered. And just like the lotus, though, that seed is down there. You don't see it, but it makes its way up through that murky water till it finally reaches the surface and it opens. And you wouldn't know it was there until it flowers and connects to the sun and connects to our divine source. And it's that opening and that blossoming and allowing in these higher energies that's propelling us forward and really taking us into that new earth. It's really, and we'll see in the class too, I've got so much on this about how it's really birthing new earth.
Wow. Amazing. Truly gorgeous. And yes, the reemergence from Atlantis of Blue Lady Lotus and Egypt, right? Okay, gorgeous. Angela, what are your oracle and Lady Cacao saying about how we can use these sacred plants to open our connection to divine wisdom, receive the information we need to navigate these turbulent times?
Very much like was just spoken about Blue Lotus's timing of coming back onto the planet at this time. The same is for the spirit of cacao and her medicine coming into the forefront of our awareness that really hasn't happened before in the way that it is now. And so much of the timing of this resurgence of cacao, each cacao and her medicine, her heart-opening medicine, has everything to do with the state of the world and the great transformation that the world is undergoing. She's coming in as this powerful guide and teacher and medicine to help us to drop out of the mind and to open up into the heart. And cacao spirit wants to communicate that very much, that this is part of the greater, higher octave of the tests and trials that we are collectively moving through. Has everything to do with deprogramming ourselves and how we've become conditioned and looking to the mind to try to figure things out. And deconditioning that and learning the remembering of how to listen to our hearts for the information that is higher octave, that is the truth, and to allow the ability for us to live our lives from that heart-guided place is what will help to change the world. And so this subtle medicine of cacao, she has a big role that she's here to fulfill in terms of how she's helping us to remember the truth of our hearts and how to anchor that truth into our everyday realities. And the greater message of cacao has, and how it impacts the world, has everything to do with starting the journey of healing within ourselves, starting from within our hearts and allowing the work to begin there. And everything that we do to bring healing to our hearts blooms out into the world.
Wow.
It affects the field of love on the planet, and it just expands love on the planet into the universe more and more and more. And the more people that do this work to open up into the heart space, the greater love that becomes available to the world and the cosmos.
So we are not only co-creating the new earth, but we are co-creating the new cosmos. All right, we're ramping it up here. Everybody, you were here with us May 17, 2013. It got articulated, all right? So blessed be. All right, now, before we conclude, Courtney, I'd like to see if there is one juicy question that we haven't addressed yet that we can address. I'm glad we addressed the dependency question. That felt very, very important. Courtney, what would you say?
Okay, probably the most relevant question here is, how can the plant medicines help us connect with the nature spirits and elemental beings?
Yes, all righty, excellent. Let's have just a quick response from each person on this, starting with Helen. How can we connect with the plant spirits, the devas, the fairies, through these medicines?
Well, blue lotus is Nymphia cerulean, which is the blue nymph, and that is how I like to see that. So by just keeping that intention and focusing on that energy definitely will be felt.
Yes, can you say what she is? The Cerulean nymph?
Nymphia cerulean.
Yeah, the blue, literally the blue nymph.
Mm-hmm.
And before I even started working with her, that night before, I was like, blue lady. That's what came to me. And then I found out this blue nymph name. Okay, beautiful. Connie, how can we connect more with the fairies and the fae? A quick response from Lady Cannabis.
Well, how can we, as we sit with them, we sit in those environments, and then it allows us, again, that access to the multidimensional field through the portals, and they will come around when asked, and it may assist you in feeling, knowing, and having relationship with those in that kingdom. Cannabis lives there, and so it's kind of like you're entering, our world.
That's right. And depending on how much you smoke, you might even see them in the room.
Exactly.
Just saying. But, that might be for like psilocybin next semester, whatever.
That's a different journey. That's a different journey, but
A different journey.
Again, that
All right.
subtle access, and
Subtle
again,
access.
we're gonna talk about the proper ingestible amounts and having the intention and having the integrity with all this. So be
Yeah.
mindful, and it's about right relationship with the plant.
That's right. We don't want to blow anyone out, Thank you so much. And Angela, connecting with the fae, the fairies.
With cacao specifically, she's saying if you want to start connecting with her spirit, with her essence, to go outside and to be in nature, to put your bare feet on the earth and connect with the sun. She has a strong synergistic relationship with the sun and with the earth, and to cultivate the connection within the heart as the starting place for making connections with the elemental spirits. Cacao also just wants to say that you can access her through the heart anytime. It does not require ingesting her medicine. So you can start working with that in a very subtle way on your own. And it's enhanced by being in nature, on the earth, and being with the sun.
Beautiful. Blessed be. I love that. Thank you so much, priestesses. All right, now, deep breath in. All right. So I want to thank you, Angela, Connie, and Helen, our sacred priestesses today. Thank you, Athena, our sacred space holder, Courtney, our moderator, and our priestess of sacred administration, Roxy, who's been fielding many things on Facebook as well. And thank all of you who have joined us live or who are watching in replay. And we look forward to seeing you all for the first class of our Sacred Feminine Plant Medicine Academy to get you deeper on your path of healing and spiritual awakening. All right, bye for now, everybody.